Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in. I am Dr. Talib Al-Khair. I have a PhD in political science from the University of Bath. And I would like to discuss in these videos some basic principles about politics. The whole idea of these videos that I will be posting often, hopefully on a daily basis, is to educate you about what's happening in the world in terms of politics, to inform you about what all these political terminologies mean in such a way that is, basic, simple, not confusing, not too academic. Okay, so the whole point is that you can watch this video and then you'll be able to take this video being assured that it's somewhat academic, that it's based on sources, on real knowledge, real science. Okay, and then you can take this knowledge, and from that knowledge you'll be able to kind of develop an informed opinion as to what's happening in the world in regards to this specific term or specific case study. Okay, so today our discussion is about international law and about the biggest problem with international law. Okay, this will be simple, easy, and fast, hopefully, so bear with me. Now let's start with the definition. Okay, so international law, if you go on Wikipedia, it says it's also known as public international law or the law of nations, is a set of rules, norms, and standards. Okay, rules, norms, and standards that states and other actors feel. Okay, underline the word feel here because it's very important later. So feel an obligation to obey in their mutual relations and generally do obey. In international relations, actors are simply the individuals and collective entities such as states, international organizations, and non-state groups, which can make behavioral choices, whether lawful or unlawful. Okay, so this is the vague general definition of what international law is. Now, in the case of what's happening in Gaza, between Israel and Hamas and Israel bombardments of Gaza and more recently Lebanon, there have been a lot of talk about international law. We all heard about the International Court of Justice. Now, South Africa has developed a case against Israel. They have led this case and they have sent their lawyers. We've all known that. And we see that in July there was a ruling. The ruling says, and this is according to, you can see it here, it's an official UN website. The ruling says, the landmark ruling of 19th of July 2024 declared that Israel's occupation of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is unlawful, along with the associated settlement regime, annexation, and use of natural resources. Okay, so this is the ruling. Now, let's see how the lawyers presented the case. We'll watch a small video here, short video. This is a South African lawyer. She was one of the lawyers of the case. And here this is her opening statement in the case, I believe. And so let's listen to her and what she said. This is the actual setting, the actual International Court of Justice setting, and this is what's happened there. Let's watch.
For the past 96 days, Israel has subjected Gaza to what has been described as one of the heaviest conventional bombing campaigns in the history of modern warfare. Palestinians in Gaza are being killed by Israeli weaponry and bombs from air, land, and sea. They are also at immediate risk of death by starvation, dehydration, and disease as a result of the ongoing siege by Israel, the destruction of Palestinian towns, the insufficient aid being allowed through to the Palestinian population, and the impossibility of distributing this limited aid while bombs fall. This conduct renders essentials to life unobtainable. For the past 9
Okay, so this was from the actual setting. This is how it went. Now, you see here, we all know about the court ruling now. and they very clearly, very loudly said that what's happening in Gaza is unlawful according to the rules of international law. But it's been since July now and nothing has happened. What is the problem? Well, you see, there are multiple problems with international law, but the key one is called the enforcement problem. Now, let's go to a proper source and see what that source says. This is the book on international law from Cambridge University Press. Okay, so it's called International Law, Cases and Materials. Okay, this is chapter 12, Enforcement of International Law, and this is by far the biggest problem with international law. Let's see what the summary says. It says, one of the challenges of the international legal system is that of enforcement. While the municipal legal system has developed mechanisms for law enforcement ranging from the police force, the courts, and prison systems, there is no equivalent in international law. That international law does not possess the same enforcement mechanism is that which exists in municipal law is highlighted as a major point of distinction between the two legal systems. It is often said that in the absence of an international policeman, it is not possible to effectively enforce international law. What does that mean? So basically, let's say your neighbor steals your stuff. You call the police, you go to court, you show the court the documents and the evidence, and hopefully, in all likelihood, you get justice back. You get your right back. The problem with international relations is that there is no such system, because in the first case, if you go complain against your neighbor and your neighbor refuses to cooperate with the court, there is a myriad of measures that they can use against him. So they might take him to prison, they might force him to sell his property in auction, to pay you. There are multiple ways to actually grant you your right back. But on the international scene, this simply does not happen. So the International Court of Justice made a ruling against Israel and nothing has happened because the ICJ does not have any enforcement mechanism. It's not like they can send their own police and arrest the Israeli Prime Minister, bring him back to court and force him to apply the law. It's not like they have a superior military that they can send to Israel and force the Israeli army to stop bombarding Gaza, right? So this is by far the biggest problem with international law. It is called the enforcement problem. Let me know what you think. Any ideas you have, leave them in the comments below, and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.